My sincere belief is if we are sustaining a democratic state so that we can all elect somebody or kick somebody out democratically, can we all get there? Can we all get there? Because if you go by the rate, this regime killed over 40 people on Sabasaba. If you do that math and we have another maybe 800 days to go, 800 times 40, that's what? 320, isn't it? People. I'm at 32,000. Actually, 32,000 people will die before we get to the election under the guns of this regime. Those 32,000 people will not get an opportunity to kick William Ruto out. I gave the example of Albert. Albert is in the ground now. You cannot tell Albert to wait for you in 2027. If Ruto kept his word, then it would be easy for some of us to buy that justification for the sustenance of the democratic state, you know? So when you have leaders, a person in the position of a head of state telling the Kenyan police, and you know the Kenyan police, they have a history, telling the Kenyan police now you are allowed to shoot people. You have his acolytes like Nelson Koech saying, in fact, don't shoot in the legs, shoot to kill. Those instructions permeate to these junior officers. And I'm telling you, Yvone, if we do not have another way, we will lose more lives before we get to 2027. Let nobody tell us about shiny things like Stadia and Sijui roads and what. I am telling you, personally as Sifuna, we want a government that will respect the rule of law, that will respect human rights and the dignity of the people of Kenya.
Does this government do that?
This government surely does not. This government is killing the people. This government does not listen to the people. This is the worst possible government. If you go back to the spirit of the Constitution in 2010, this is the worst possible government we would have envisaged. It's the direct opposite of what we wanted. So I hear William Ruto has succeeded in bullying these guys in the opposition, Kina Kalonzo, into, he says, these people just say one term, they don't have any agenda. I want William Ruto to know that his removal from office is a national priority agenda. It is the only agenda because his government is totally opposed to everything that this constitution stands for. And I want these people to be bold. Don't be bullied. You don't have to, he wants to push you into a corner where you're discussing markets. Tell Albert Ojwang about markets and roads. In my ranking, removing Ruto is top. It's even higher than getting a second terminal at JKI or dualing Malaba to Mombasa.
And how would we do that?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's talk about that because there's those calls for one term.
Yeah.
The president, on the other hand, calls those calls unconstitutional.
They are not unconstitutional.
So,
these terms are granted by the public. I've told you we are the sovereign. Yeah. If we decide to give you one term, we will give you a term. If we decide to give you half a term, we impeach you. I mean, it is in the Constitution. And you can also resign midway from public pressure. We have seen it happen. We have seen it happen that governments have collapsed under the weight of the pressure of the people. Because once people have rejected you, they have rejected you. It is a constitutional way to remove somebody midterm. Yeah.
And one of those would be impeachment, as you said.
Correct.
Do you think Parliament is sufficiently independent to do that if that is what the people would ask them to do? And you sit to the Senate, which would be a very important player in this.
Personally, if he was sent to the Senate, I would impeach him without blinking. The way the other one who was sent to us was impeached.
You once said that if President Ruto is re-elected, you will find another country to go to. Is this still your position? First of all,
you are a media practitioner. Don't share things you've seen on social media. In my position as SG and Senator of Nairobi, everything I say, everything, there is a clip. It's on video. It's like these things I've said here today, I cannot deny them because I have said them on TV. If you show me a video of me saying that, because I've seen that thing circulating in social media, and I'm waiting for any Kenyan who has that video to show me.
So you wouldn't...
I will never flee my own country. We will die here. We're not running away. It is our responsibility to fix this country. And I'm telling you, we must play our part. We must play our part in fixing this country and revert it back to what people envisaged it to be when they were passing this constitution. This document did not come easily. We are the generation who were born under Moi Yvone. I lived my entire life under a dictatorship. The first time I got an opportunity to vote, I went to vote Kanu out. I am not going back to that life, where you're sitting with your father and he has a Land Rover and he runs into the sugarcane farm to hide. And he has done nothing, because those guys, you would explain when you are in committee. You explain when you're already there. So you would rather just hide. We are not going back there. But these days, the DPP is just a conveyor belt for these charge sheets that are written in police stations. So today they'll write a charge sheet saying Sifuna is being charged with terrorism. And the judiciary, which is supposed to be the vanguard of the people, they know, all these judges know the games that are being played by the state, you know? They know the games that are being played by the state. I remember when they were deporting Miguna, there is a judge in Kajiado who, when Miguna was presented before them, I think it was a magistrate, he said, but I am aware the High Court in Nairobi is waiting for Miguna. Can you take him there? That is the sort of judiciary we expect, because that's the last, if the judiciary collapses, then we're all done, you know? The judiciary collapses, we're all done. So when I hear the CJ, who I have criticized repeatedly, first for going to drink tea at State House, because he has refused to keep the separation of powers, then recently by saying, oh, people who attack the judiciary or burn buildings are terrorists. She's the originator of all these problems. She knows there's a crime called arson. She went to school. She knows there's a crime called arson. If somebody burns down your house, you charge them with arson. Terrorism is a totally different issue, you know? So we are in a bad place. We are in a very bad place as a country.
And moving forward, do you think any of the others who are presenting themselves for possible leadership in the country as we go forward, because it's very clear we're in a pre-campaign, if not, you know, full campaign season, you know, they've organized themselves under the United One Kenya opposition. I'd like us to maybe talk about each of them.
Yeah.
So there's Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who has expressed interest in the top seat in the country. What do you think of him as a solution going forward?
First of all, as a leader of a political party, I am inclined to think of myself first. I must think of ODM first. ODM has not run out of leaders. ODM has not run out of ability to produce presidential candidates. So why are you sending me there? You should have started with my own political party.
Let's go.
But I will tell you this.
We'll get to ODM. We will get to ODM.
My view about 2027 is that there will be no room for sentiment. The project of removing William Ruto does not allow for sentiment. We will not work with angels. There are no angels. Even Sifuna is not an angel. I have my faults. I'm not a perfect human being. But the national priority project of removing William Ruto does not allow for sentiment. So, Dr. Fred Matiang'i has his faults. And, you know, that's why I said, I referred you to this preamble. We must all agree that we are going back to a government that respects the rule of law, human dignity, democratic governance, all of those. And I am happy that everybody who has declared to be president is being examined on their record. Is being examined on their record and their history. And this is the thing that we missed out in 2022. Because they say, a leopard never changes its spots. Your history is who you are. If you are died in the wool Kanu hawk from the 90s, you know, Yvone, when we were kids, when multi-party was coming, I was about 10 years in 92. They used to tell us that if you flash the two-finger salute, they will cut one finger. Who are those people who are telling us those things? These kind of youth wingers here who are in power now. From that time. So, examine the history of everyone. Fred Matiang'i has his faults. But if he's going to help us remove William Ruto, so be it. So be it.
Former Deputy President Gachagua?
He is impeached. He cannot run. I don't understand why people talk about him as a viable candidate. The Constitution says once you're impeached, you cannot run.
As Kingmaker? Is he someone you would work with?
I don't know about Kingmaker. Let me tell you about my view of Gachagua as in terms of value proposition. The value proposition for Gachagua, for me, from an ODM perspective, is that he is taking away votes that helped beat us in 2022. For as long as he's taking away votes from Ruto, I don't care where he takes them. He's not giving William Ruto. Are you getting my point? Because for me, I still believe ODM has the best chance. If Yvone, Raila Odinga were to get the exact same number of votes that he got in 2022 in 2027, and William Ruto loses Mount Kenya, Raila Odinga will be president. That's how I see it as SG. So for me, the story about Gachagua, and by the way, there's inordinate attention to Gachagua, including in your bulletin today. There is a cabinet secretary crying about Gachagua. You know, I don't know how I can explain this from two perspectives. First of all, as a senator, once you have impeached someone, that's it. Number two, as a lawyer, there's a rule called against double jeopardy. So you all know he's a tribalist, right? That's the reason why we impeached him, right? So how many times do you want us to impeach him? I was shocked. Members of the National Assembly who have constitutional oversight over Gachagua, they have already exercised that oversight by impeaching him. They adjourned their house to discuss a private citizen. A private citizen that they have already impeached. How many times can you impeach someone? So now, he paid for his crimes. He can do whatever it is he's doing out there. If he crosses the line, because there are limitations to the freedom of expression, if he crosses the line, arrest him. I just hear people complaining, why don't you arrest him? Why don't you arrest him and charge him? You know? So for me, really, that is Ruto's funeral. Pahali walitoana, mimi, I was not there. He has told us long stories about how he selected him or MPCG voted. We were not there. From an ODM perspective, as SG, me, for as long as Ruto's votes are being scattered, that's all I care about.
So, if this is a party position that you don't agree with, in the last few minutes you've talked about this being an unpopular regime.
Yes.
One in which you're in a working arrangement with.
Absolutely.
You've talked about yoking yourself, you know, with this regime that you term as unpopular.
Yeah.
And as Secretary General of ODM that is in an arrangement with this, and you as Secretary General disagreeing with the party position, what do you then do as a person?
You can just ask me why I won't resign, Yvone. Don't be shy. You know, you and me started this thing way back. I was telling you before we started, the first time I was on TV was with you. The reason I will not resign yet is because I've not given up yet. I have not given up on members of ODM, because ODM is a mass movement, Yvone. ODM has a followership, a registered membership of over 5 million people. And when you speak to a majority of those people, there is still belief and trust within the ranks of the party that Baba knows what is right for the people, that he will do the right thing, and that the vast majority of the members of the party believe in themselves and in their ability to pull this train back on its tracks. You will listen to what we in Parliament say, but ODM has a total complement of about 106 elected members of Parliament. Compare that to the 5 million in the grassroots there who have given support to this political party for years. Secondly, many of us, like I personally, speaking as Sifuna, I have known one political leader all my life. You cannot just give up and say you are going to quit on all that membership. But I want to say here that on the day that I give up, I will tell you, I will say it publicly that I have lost the battle to rescue this party and to bring it back to where it was. And we will have lost collectively as members of ODM, because I cannot do this thing on myself. I am on record having advised the party against doing this MOU with UDA.
And they still went ahead.
We still went ahead and entered that MOU. But you see, the beauty is that you are proven right every day. I warned that the problem with doing a formal MOU with UDA is that it didn't matter what the MOU said. The people from UDA, the government, William Ruto, is not interested in the details of the MOU. And that is why he gets upset when I remind him what the MOU said. You know, they wanted a document that they could then go and, run a PR campaign around and say, oh, tumeungana, we are together. That is not what this document says. This document does not establish a coalition agreement between ODM and UDA. But that's the impression they've been creating. They go out there and say, and I had warned that the PR disaster that was going to come from this was going to be something that was going to be very difficult to manage. Unfortunately, the foremost PR officer for the party is the SG. And that is where I'm saying there's difficulty that has come from this. Recently, we had another meeting, and there was a proposal to have a team to review the implementation of this MOU. I have asked respectfully that I be left out of that team, because I have already declared this MOU dead. I have already done so publicly. So there is no point. I'm not a mortician. There's no point of me going to go through a document that I've already declared dead. And the reason I declared this MOU dead is because the initial argument for entering into this MOU was twofold. First of all, it was for the sustenance of life. for the sustenance of life, that we were losing people unnecessarily. That can we all agree that this is not something we need to continue doing? We need to stop killing our people. That was the first argument. The second argument was the sustenance of the democratic state. So Ruto is getting his end of the bargain because the democratic state is being sustained at least until 2027. But our people are not getting there. They're still being killed. So on the day that Albert Ojwang dies in a police cell, to me, this agreement is dead because it doesn't matter what else you do, Albert will not be able to enjoy that.
Okay.
You know?
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Have you told this to your party leader?
I have. I have spoken with Baba. I have explained to him my frustrations, the difficulties of having to explain what we are doing with this rogue regime, the confusion that has come upon my mind because this is not what I was taught. You know, me, I don't know how I can explain. Because I've told you I've only known one leader. I've only known one political party. I know what this party stands for. So every time there is things that are at odds with what I have been taught, have been conditioned to believe, then the confusion becomes too much for me. So I have expressed that.
And what does he say in response?
So there is many private conversations, the details of which that I cannot share. But for you and your viewers, just know that there is nothing that I can say publicly that I have not said privately to my party leader. And I have a lot of respect for him. He's molded me into the person that I am. And even today, he continues to listen to objections. By the way, it's not just Sifuna who objects to some of these things. Feedback comes from across the country because Baba has the best, possibly the best grassroots network in this country. And they are telling him from Mandera, from Tana River, from the coast, from Northeastern, they're saying this relationship is hurting our political party.
Have you ever been contacted by President William Ruto on any issue relating to this broad-based working arrangement?
No. I don't even have William Ruto's number, and he can't call me. Because if I don't have your number, you can't call me.
Let's speak a little bit more about him. At an event in Homa Bay, President Ruto, speaking in front of your party leader, expressed displeasure over your stance on the broad-based politics. And he said, as founding member of ODM, they would get together and sort of find a way to reprimand you. Tell us if anything has come of this threat. Was it effected? We know you're still in office, at least for now, but you know, has something been done?
Clearly that meeting has not happened.
Well, but has something been done to give you reason to...
I have a few things to say. First of all, nobody should threaten me with founder member status because ODM, as I've told you, is a mass movement. If it was just the leaders, ODM would not exist. I have told you, we are the kids who were singing in the streets those days that gave this mass movement called ODM, because you need the people for you to be able to say that you are a mass movement. In 2005, we voted against the proposed document of the constitution that Kibaki had given us on the instruction of Baba, because we were his kids, you know. So, first, there's no organ of ODM called founders. There's no organ, and he's not a member of the party. We have a disciplinary committee that is headed by Ramadan Abubakar, who happens to be a birthday boy today. So shout out to him. Those are the people who can discipline me as a member of the party, not William Ruto. And Yvone, it has been the honor of my life to be SG of ODM. I was telling these young students that I met at Chungwa House on Saturday from the universities in Kenya that there is no political platform that is bigger than ODM, and no bigger political platform than SG of ODM. I have been SG of ODM. This is my 8th year. I'm the longest serving SG of ODM. There is a contribution that I've made to the party. I would not feel bad if they gave opportunity to somebody else, because Sifuna now is saying that the party has taken a wrong direction. I will not begrudge anyone. I would actually understand it, you know. So him threatening me there in front of people, and the reason why he was saying all of those things, Yvonne, you can look at the speech that I made on that particular day. What is it that I said that was so offensive? I asked him to stop tear gassing young children, to allow a play by a high school to be performed. That is what warrants the removal of SG of ODM. It is ridiculous. So for me, really, I know the people who put me in this position. And the day they say, Sifuna, we have lost confidence in your ability to be SG of ODM, I will respect that decision. I would remain a loyal member of ODM and serve the people of Nairobi in the capacity of senator. I don't have an issue.